House always wins in Vegas, it's probably because it does, and that's not by accident. Addiction is a science at casinos. Casinos work very hard to get you on the floor and to keep you there. Research papers, books, and even conventions have worked to understand what the best layout of the casino floor is and what keeps people shelling out the big bucks, even when they're losing. Research has found, for example, that fast music and red lights make gamblers bet at a faster pace. Women tend to spend more when the casino floor is less crowded, and a nice scent pumped through the vents might encourage a gambler to play that slot machine just one more time. Odds vary from casino to casino. The romantic concept of a proper Vegas vacation primarily revolves around experiencing the Strip, from its luxurious hotels to its glamorous casinos. While glitzy casinos on the Strip will always draw a crowd and can tilt their odds to give the house a substantial edge, those located in less touristy parts of town, most notably North Las Vegas and the Boulder Strip, try to lure gamblers in the know with considerably better odds. In 2014, 25-cent slots returned on average 96.71% on each bet at the Boulder Strip, 96.61% in North Las Vegas, and just 91.52% at the Vegas Strip. Good gamblers want full tables. You might assume that an expert gambler would want to make their experience at the tables as isolated, remote, and individually focused as possible, given that distractions like inexperienced gamblers and excess chatter would seem unwelcome. For the savvy few that think deeply while they play, however, more players at a table slows down the game and offers more thinking time. On top of that, complimentary rewards are typically tied to the amount of time a gambler spends inside the casino. So, longer hands extend one's stay without forcing them to risk more money and bring the prospect of free meals and accommodations closer to fruition. Casinos are making blackjack harder. If you're in a rut at the blackjack table and you wonder to yourself why it used to be so much easier to cash in on that big 21 and balance the ledger, it might just be you. Or you might actually be onto something. In the past few years, many casinos have quietly gone about lowering the payout on hitting blackjack from 3 to 2 to 6 to 5. In other words, if you bet $10 on a hand and draw an ace and a face card, you will now only come away with $12 where you once took home $15. While there should be visible placards to explain what the payout is, they can sometimes use complicated language or be in deliberately hard-to-view areas. Feel free to ask the dealer what the payout actually is. Free drinks come at a cost. You have to win an awful lot of money to duplicate the triumphant sensation of finding a server with a tray of complimentary drinks to offer you while you try to work your magic on the casino floor. For some, free alcohol is an integral part of the gambling experience. Unfortunately for most, that gambling experience winds up being a losing one, and the alcohol can be a part of that. Casino executives want the drinks to keep flowing so as to impair judgment and decision-making skills. In some ways, you could argue that it is the losses born out of inebriated gamblers that have been shuffled back into the casino's coffers to cover for those free drinks. The big, shiny wheel sucks you in. They are ever present in just about every casino, that big, shiny wheel that screams for attention and serves as a stunning visual centerpiece in an area full of eye-catching sights. They look like fun and all, but guarantee that nearby spectators will be watching you play. These machines also happen to carry the biggest house edge of any machine in the room. Sure, it's exciting when you win, but those wins come few and far between, while folks with less snazzy machines in less central spots within the casino gain a better shot at instant riches. Baccarat is good for beginners. The game of Baccarat has long been associated with wealth and royalty, often being perceived as a game for kings, queens, and James Bond. In a Season 2 episode of Family Guy, Peter, looking to adapt the persona of a wealthy aristocrat, replies to an invite to play the card game with the quip, "Right Baccarat at you." But, lest any commoners feel alienated by the high-rolling reputation of the game, it is actually an easy game to play with little skill required, few insightful decisions to make, and best of all, better odds against the dealer than your average card game. Larger chips make losing more palatable. You'll notice in many casinos that you are now encouraged to take larger chips rather than smaller ones. At best, casino patrons can view these chips as a fun accessory to their gambling experience that makes them appear to be bigwigs. At worst, they mean nothing to gamblers who care little for a difference in denominations when the overall value of the chips remain the same. For the casino, however, the larger chips often distinct psychological edge. It seems easier to throw down a single $25 chip than it does to count out 5 $5 chips, so the temptation is always there to bet more than you might really want to. Identical machine, different odds. Regular gamblers are adamant creatures of habit, often carrying superstitions that tie them to very structured, restrictive gambling experiences. They know how much they want to bet, which machines they want to use, and what little idiosyncratic patterns they want to follow. But maybe there's more to it than simple superstition. Machines that all look the same might actually differ in a very important way. They might pay different returns for certain winning hands. It is critical to compare the pay tables, usually displayed on their screens, before playing to ensure that you are maximizing your potential payout. Security is everywhere, even if you don't see them. Casinos know that there would probably be no greater buzzkill in a gambling environment than seeing a constant stream of intense, joyless, stern-faced authorities to make patrons feel watched and uncomfortable. You know there is some level of supervision on the casino grounds, but you can immerse yourself at the slots or tables without sensing any looming presence of casino officials over your shoulder. Now, this doesn't mean that they aren't there. In fact, every casino has their own set of law enforcement officers who are posed as guests. These gambler watchers will typically move around the room, placing small bets at different tables without being overly invested